I'm at Lake Guntersville, arriving for a work trip tomorrow, and there was nobody parked at this causeway, and I just couldn't get myself to not stop, at least for a few minutes. Don't know if I'll give it a lot of shot. There's a between the matted vegetation and the eelgrass blowing in, it might be challenging to fish effectively, but looks like we got some open water here directly under the bridge, and there's somebody. That didn't take long. Well, that's worthwhile right there. Got a nice bluegill, nice bluegill to get things started. Cool. That was only second or third cast. He was right there under the shade of the bridge. Whoops. Sorry, buddy. Get him back in. Get him back in the water. It's mild right now for August, but it is still August, and a bridge like this provides all-day shade for these fish, and they also have nice cover from the rocks and the creek channel that runs through here. Sometimes spots like this can be pretty productive, so it's a good start. We'll see if he's got any buddies. Fishing with a little tandem rig, a set of Bobby Garland itty bit mayflies. I really like this time of year. The fish are sometimes a little fussy. I really like those little baits, and the Bobby Garland itty bit series is definitely a favorite. I like the tandem rig in part just because it gives me extra casting distance and a little bit more control of the bait. 48 ounce jig head, so they're pretty. One of them is pretty small, but two of those is just enough that it's reasonable to cast as much as I need to on light tackle, which the casting need isn't a lot. It doesn't have to get out very far. Oh, there's another one. That might be a little bass, I'm not sure. Nope, looks like another bluegill. Another good bluegill. Got one on the top jig and one on the bottom jig. No, it might actually be a shell cracker, I'm not sure. But some kind of sunfish. A brim. Get him unhooked and back in the water. The other one was a little bigger, but that was big enough to tug on the other end and be fun. Those fish were in different spots, but they were postured very similarly. Both of the rocks stretch out a little here, and then they kind of angled down a little bit, and both of them were just right off that little slope. So they were kind of up against these rocks, but down just a tiny bit. Another one. He was so much in the same spot, and again, the same type of spot. I'm slightly over, but he was just where those rocks are tapering up, dropping just a little bit deeper. Another bluegill, three kind of similar size fish. Cool. Guess that's the zone I need to keep working. Cast out by the bridge sport several times, just like that. In fact, that cast was out toward there, but they've been hitting at the end. If that continues to be the case, I probably need to do my cast closer to parallels, so more efficient, spending more time where the fish are. I'm gonna keep trying a few more around those sports, because if there are any crappie around, I feel like they'd be over there, and I feel like there might be a little bit bigger fish, but haven't proven that so far. There's another one. Same zone, just as I got it kind of close to where those rocks drop off was where that fish hit. Does seem to be the pattern. Another nice bluegill. Interesting to see if they're in that same zone out from under the bridge. Got the same sort of cover, but same sort of drop and rocks. But two things are different. One is that you don't have that shade, and that could be a big difference. The other is all this floating eelgrass that's a little more challenging to work through. Even though it's on the surface, the line catches it and it rides down to the jig. There's one. That fish was right on the shade line. I don't know if he was in the shade or in the sun, because they hit it right on that edge. Could have even been sitting in the shade. Sometimes they'll use that shade line as an ambush point. They'll kind of be hidden in the shade and look for things going by in the light. I don't know if that was the case or not, but that certainly sometimes is. So that's where he was, for what that's worth. Before we're quite moving along, I decided to try one different approach, basically for the same fish. Got one strike as soon as it landed. See if there's more. Put on a Rebel Crick Hopper. Try twitching that on the surface. And see if there's some more of those bluegill that were holding on the edge of these rocks that got used to my jig or saw other fish caught and stopped hitting it, but that might respond to this. I'll just give it a handful of casts. Oh, there we go. I don't know if that was a bluegill. Whoa. He came and got that. Nice little bass up under the bridge. It saw that crick hopper dancing along, and it was a little more than he could stand. That's a fun bonus. Didn't prove anything one way or the other on the bluegill, but certainly fun to catch. Get him unhooked and back in the water and see if I can catch another one. Try a cast or two here, and then I'm going to continue on my way. A little further out, work that edge a little better. Didn't catch a lot of fish, but definitely a worthwhile stop on the way by. I got a handful of decent bluegill on the eddy bits, and one solid bass for the tackle of standing on the bank on this crick hopper. That was a fun surprise, and beyond that, it was a pretty good illustration of patterning. The fish did a pretty good variety of casts with those eddy bit jigs, and every single fish was just off the rocks where they were dropping off, and they were all in the shade. So that's what was happening today.